Morning everyone, it's Audrey, Stitchy 42. It's the Monday before Halloween 2020. And yes, this is the day that I would usually be doing a regular update, but I'm going to do a regular update next Monday because I'm hoping that we will have lots of ghosties and ghoulies come and do social trick-or-treating at our house this Saturday. We've got the pumpkin pulley set up. I've advertised it on our local Facebook community page, so I'm hoping that I'm going to have lots of ghosties and ghoulies showing up for Halloween, and hopefully have some videos of that to share with you when I do my regular update next Monday. But today I thought I would do something, well, a little bit different. I have been working on Stoney Creek Halloween Village Afghan, and I've learned a trick or two from watching some people doing videos, and I've come up with a couple of ways to do things myself, and I just thought that I would do a stitch along kind of sort of thing and tell you about how I am tackling this huge project. It's an Afghan. I've never done anything this big before, so this is all new to me, and I'm learning stuff. So I thought that I would take you along on a little bit of my journey with that today. And before I get started here, because I'm going to actually set the camera up so you're over my left shoulder to see what I'm working on, I thought I'd show you my stitchy space. Hold on just a moment. So what you see right over there is my chair where I sit all the time. And down here is my box of projects that I'm working on. Well, down here is my box of projects that I'm ignoring while I work on my Afghan. That's a more accurate description of what that box is. Here's my footstool that has my trio of witches on it. And I am housing my Stoney Creek Halloween Village Afghan in this gorgeous Mondo bag that my friend Lori, who is tech stylist on YouTube and Instagram, she made this for me and sent it to me. This is gorgeous. These are why I don't try to quilt anything, because you have to make things perfect, and I don't. So anyway, let me get things set up so you'll be behind my left shoulder and we can get stitching on that. Oh, by the way, it's 27 degrees here this morning. It's cold, so I have the pellet stove on, so you're going to hear humming in the background. Hold on. Okay, I'm set up in my chair. I've got my Afghan laid out. I've got my supplies off to the side. This is what I am working on. This is Stoney Creek Halloween Village Afghan. And this is a 30-page project on a 1.5 yard Afghan cut. You can see it drapes across my lap when I'm working on it. When I got my flosses ready, I made these floss cards, floss tags. I've got 4 colors on each one, and I have one skein of each color that is used in here. There's a lot. There's a lot of them. So when I was putting this together, I wanted to have this set up so that it was easy for me to work on. I grabbed a piece of foam core, and what I've been doing with these flosses, they're all DMC, is when I need to use a new skein, I wrap it around it just like I would be bobbinating, but then I cut the bottoms, and that gives me my length that goes on here. One of my dealies fell off. Anyway, that gives me the lengths that are going on here that I'm using. Excuse me while I clean up my mess here. It's not cooperating this morning, and you're going to see all my all my issues because I'm not stopping and pausing and starting over again. These are the the silicone magnetic ties that I'm using to hold the extra fabric here. And it's nice because I can roll it up. The magnets hold them to each other, and it's keeping this side rolled up and out of the way so I don't have a bunch of extra bulk on this side. This side, I don't want to lose my thread here because that's what I'm going to use next, doesn't have as much right now, so it only needs 2 to hold them in place. So because I'm using these, I have taken my needle minder off of this project because I have a lot of them here right now. They are magnetic. So this project is being stitched 4 strands over 2 stitches. And like I said, I take that piece of mat board, foam core. This is what I use to figure out my size, the size or the length of my floss. I can speak the English, and oh look, I tied a knot in the end because I'm talented. So that one's a little bit longer than my piece. It must have been an end piece of the DMC. This is 2 strands of DMC. Can you see both fingers there? I am doubling this. So this is how long my length is that I'm stitching with. And from this length, I will get maybe, depending on where I'm stitching at and how close the stitches are together, I will get maybe 13 stitches before I have to change floss. So this first trick that I want to show you, this is the one that blew me away, and I have to thank Gail Phillips. She has a YouTube channel, and I hope you're watching her because she's teaching me stuff. She talked about doing loop starts on pieces, but starting them from the front of the fabric. I've done loop starts before, but I've always done them from the back. So let me figure out where I'm at and what I'm doing here. Okay. I know this isn't very close. I'm going to try to get as close as I can. She starts by going in the front where you knit the top of your stitch and coming up in the bottom corner of your stitch. And as you can see, I have the loop right there. So I catch it and I pull it as close as I can and pull my thread off the needle because I'm talented that way. You know, you're getting the whole thing. Like I said, I'm not going to stop and start this, and I don't edit. So anyway, when you pull your thread close, you can see that loop on the front of the screen. But when you go back in through that first stitch again, and you pull, it pulls the loop to the back of the fabric. And I thought, oh my God, that is just absolutely fantastic. It makes it so much easier when you have to start stitching, you know, when you're counting from one spot to another spot and you're making that first stitch. For me, it was like the best new thing ever. I've been stitching for over 40 years. I've done loop starts from the back forever and ever and ever and ever. I never thought about doing them from the front of my project. And Gail showed me that, and I've been doing that since I started working on the Afghan here. So we enable each other, we teach each other. It doesn't matter how long you've been stitching, you can always learn something new. Okay, I have to go up 5. So I started this project on June 1st this year. It was supposed to be my leap year, leap day start, but I didn't have the fabric at the time. Janine was having problems getting fabric into the shop because COVID, and I had finally contacted Stoney Creek themselves, or gone to their website themselves. So if you're interested in stitching one of the Afghans, and I know they have several, they've got the Halloween village, they have a Christmas village, I've seen some that have teddy bears on them. They sell the Afghan cut of 20 count ash gray Lugana. It's $100, like $99.97, so it's $100. And I checked their website just the other day. They still have it in stock. Doesn't say anything about being, back ordered or anything like that. So it's an option if this is something that you wanted to start. That is one place where you could get it. If you want to stitch it on something else, that's entirely up to you. So I'm just trying to run out this length of green here. Like I said, from that length of floss, I can generally get 12 to 13 stitches. And I don't play floss chicken with this at all because it's too hard, and I don't. When you play floss chicken, you sometimes stretch your fabric a little bit, and I really don't want to do that. So I think that's the last stitch I'm going to take of that color. Work it under my stitches on the back. And that's about how long a piece that I'm tossing away. The other thing that I wanted to show you, and this is something I changed myself. So let me figure out what my color number is and grab that color floss. I put these things on here in numerical order, and yet every time I go to find a different color of floss, I have to search through them to figure out where it's at, because I'm flipping them around all over the place. Flip my pattern back. Okay, when I was working on this vine, that's the picture on the back. This pumpkin is the same as this pumpkin. So there are vines on this side and this side that are identical. When I was working on the vines on the upper left-hand side, I was doing the loop start like I had been doing all along. But I found that I was wasting floss. And, right now is not the time to be wasting floss. But right here is 6 stitches of a dark color. If I can get 12 to 13 stitches out of my length of floss doing the loop start, I was ending up wasting half of the floss, because now I have 2 really small pieces that I couldn't really do a loop start with. So when I came over here and I was working on this vine, I thought I would try something different. So in areas where I only have to do a few stitches, and let me get my placement here. Okay, right here in between the oranges, I need to do 6 stitches, which would waste half of my length of floss. So what I do here is I have that same length of floss, my different color, but this time I'm starting with in the back, and I'm only using 2 strands. And I'm going to pull this as close to the edge of my floss as I can in the back, and I'm going to go down to the bottom corner. So basically I'm stitching 2 over 2. I'm going to come back up to that top corner, and I'm going to do it again, and now I have my 4 strands over 2. And then I'm going to do the same thing from my upper left corner, 2 over 2, 4 over 2. And the little piece of floss is caught in the back, not a problem. But I found that by doing this, I'm going to end up with a piece of floss that's left over, but because of the length of it, I get more use out of it. Oops, see, I'm trying to mess myself up there. Talking to all you guys, you're not letting me pay attention to what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm blaming you. So, I wish I knew how to zoom in on the camera, but I don't. I'm not tech savvy. I don't know how to do this stuff. Insert pictures, yeah, it's not going to happen. The program that I use to put my videos up, they upgraded. And I'm having to start all over again figuring out how to do it because I'm not tech savvy. It's just, it's not my thing, man. It's just not my thing. So yeah, when I'm using when I only have to fill in a few stitches of a color, I'm doing 2 strands, but I'm doubling it up so that it actually ends up being 4 strands. 2 from upper right to lower left, 2 from upper left to lower right, and I've got 4 over 2. And the thing of it is, on the back you can't really tell the difference where I'm doing that, but where I noticed the biggest difference for me, and as soon as I'm done with these 2 stitches, I will show you what the big difference is for me, was on these berries. I don't like doing pin stitch. I know there's a lot of people that do that, but it's just not my thing. I found that stitching it this way, the 2 over 2 twice, both sides, then when I carried the thread from one berry to the next berry, I've only got 2 strands of floss on the back, and it ended up looking much neater. Cut that off. Okay, 6 stitches in right there. I still have a huge piece of floss that I can use for some more stitches, but I want to show you the difference that it made doing my stitches like that on the berries. So give me a second to get my needle thread, pop it up here on a needle minder so it's out of the way. Okay. These are the little berries that are on the vines. So there's 3 stitches of the gold here, there's 3 stitches of the gold here, 3 stitches here, 6 stitches here. Yes, I'm carrying thread on the back. But doing it, the 2 over 2 and doubling it, that's what the back of those stitches look like. Now give me a second to unfold the beast of material. These silicone ties, magnetic ties, I am loving them so much. So over here, you can see that's what the berries are going to look like on the vines. I was doing the loop start with them on the back of these. And that's what the back of it looked like. And while I really didn't think that's bad, I felt like I was wasting a lot of floss in the process of doing that. And the same thing with the back of my vine over here. I was wasting a lot of floss doing the loop start and then having to throw away a lot of floss. But on this side, because I'm doing where I just need to use a few stitches of one color, and I'm doing the 2/2 twice, it just looks a little bit neater to me. So, since I have it unwrapped, and I'm sure you can all figure out how to do this. I'm just wrapping this up loosely, taking my magnetic ties, and these things like to stick to each other. Once I get one on, it's not bad. Okay, it's trying to prove me a liar. It's live, people. It's live. Well, not live. It's recorded. But you're watching my struggles. You know, I have put these things on and off a half a dozen times since I've gotten them, and they've never been an issue. But now that I'm trying to do it and record at the same time, they're going, yeah. It's gremlins. I'm telling you, the gremlins. They are nice. They do hold the bulk out of the way. They do work good when they don't go flying off. One's somewhere down there on the floor. I'm not going to get it. Anyway, this is not a very long video. I wanted to show you those two little tricks that I'm doing. The front loop start, I think, is fantastic. Doing for the short number of stitches when I need them, doing it 2/2 twice, each leg twice to get my 4/2 is working really good for me. I think right about here, this is page 4. I'm working into page 5, which is the top right hand corner of the Afghan. And I think right about here is where the inner corner is going to turn down. So I just wanted to show you a couple of little things that I'm doing with this. I am loving working on this so much. I am ignoring everything else. But I have to work on doing some finishing today that I won't be able to show you next week. I'm sure between now and then I'll figure out something to talk about and share with you when I do a regular update next week. Anyway, this is how I've been working on my Stoney Creek Afghan village. I hope that if you're thinking about doing one of these, that you go ahead and do it. I am using 3 different hashtags on Instagram to share this. Hashtag SC Halloween Village, SC Christmas Village, and hashtag Voluptuous Stitches, because Lisa, Kindred Stitcher, said so. Anyway, until next week, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.